Lots of fun coming your way this weekend on U62.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start. We have main engine start.
And good morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast.com on Newstalk 1380.
Yeah, here we go. So we're going to have an interesting show today.
Stomach's in a knot.
Yeah, it is.
You know, a very interesting show. We were going to have a guest on live. They're still going to be on the show, but they're going to be calling in instead. And, you know, this is definitely a controversial subject.
Just a little.
You know, there's really no question about that.
I don't know many people that fall, you know, in between. There's
No.
like one end or the other on this
Yeah.
issue. And I don't know a lot of
didn't
people
know
that
there was a
fall
lot
on
of
one
two
end.
ends, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew there
Okay.
was two sides?
Yeah.
Now, let's introduce the guest that's going to come on. Jeff, what's her name?
Her name is Michelle Egberts.
Okay. Now, Michelle is with an organization called...
The AV East Kern Second Chance organization.
Okay.
Which their primary role is to help facilitate people that are coming out from prison and reassimilating back into society.
Okay.
And that alone, I can.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay, great. Hi, Michelle. This is Steve. You're on live. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I went over and, you know, I looked at some of the paperwork and some of the emails and stuff that you forwarded over to Jeff. Now, let me ask you a question. There's a lawsuit currently between, you know, I'm going to say the Doe family, John Doe, Jane Doe, and Jake Doe, against the city of Lancaster.
Yes.
Okay? Which primarily is what we want to talk about. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, help me just wrap my head around this. How are you involved with this lawsuit?
Well, it's about prisoner reentry.
Okay.
These individuals have tried to reenter the society, basically.
Okay. All right. So we've got 3 individuals that have brought an action against the city of Lancaster. And just for a little background, okay?
Uh-huh.
Each individual was convicted of... They're required to register for life as a sex offender, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
2 of them were they all convicted of felonies?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So they were, all 3 of them, 2 men and 1 woman, were all convicted of felonies.
Yeah.
Now, the felony, just so I can bring our listeners up to speed, was it oral copulation? Are we talking about sexual battery? What are we talking about specifically?
We're talking about felonies and sexual misdemeanors. All the way from pissing, you know, basically urinating in public to a sexual offense, battery. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so urinating in public is a felony?
It's actually a misdemeanor, and it will put you on the registry for life.
And
Okay,
that's
so
what I find
what's the
ridiculous.
felony? What's the felony stuff?
Okay. But they were convicted of felonies, not misdemeanors, right?
One was convicted of a misdemeanor, and 2 were convicted of felonies.
Okay. The 2 felonies. What was the actual act that they were convicted of?
They were actually convicted of non-sexual crimes.
What were the crimes?
Which were what?
Actually, I don't know the typical crimes that they plea bargained down to, but they were non-child related crimes.
But they were
They're
non-sexual crimes, but they were
Considered
required
sexual?
to register as sex offenders?
Okay, so let's
Yes.
if you can articulate to us what you believe that they've been accused of or convicted of, so that we can get our head around
I'm just trying
our
to
opinion
understand.
and you know, and people can voice you know where they might have one.
Well, let's put it this way. If you and I, Angelina, right?
Yeah.
If you and I go out and play a round of golf, and there's not an outhouse for us to go to the bathroom in,
Right.
and we choose to go behind a tree.
Go find a bush. Yep.
Yeah, go find a bush.
Who hasn't done that?
And we're out in public, okay, and somebody else sees us, and they report us, we could be committed or convicted of a sexual crime.
Okay.
Okay, but
So that's
the
stupid, and we
misdemeanor.
get that part. But
Okay.
what's
Right.
the other part?
The other part is non-sexual crimes. If a man, an 18-year-old, okay, or two 17-year-olds have consensual sex, and they are out in their home and get caught by their mom and dad, okay, and they call the police, they can be committed for a sexual crime.
And
is
that's
that what
a
happened?
felony?
Is that what happened in this case, Michelle?
Yes.
I would certainly call the police
Yeah, but that's a felony?
if I came in on that.
Yes.
Two 17-year-olds having sex?
Yes, two 17-year-olds. Anything under 18 years old, even if it was consensual, they could be convicted of felonies.
Well, they haven't reached the age of consent.
That's
So-
right.
So
That's
there-
right.
it can't be consensual.
Okay, so
That's right.
Well, let's take it one step at a time. So
Uh-huh.
is that what John Doe was convicted of? He was having sex when he was 17 with his 17-year-old girlfriend.
He touched her.
And she was cool with it. It was consensual.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other one,
Okay, so that takes care of
That's
John.
one.
And Jane Doe.
what was her deal?
Jane Doe, she had consensual sex with someone under 18.
And she was under 18 herself?
No, she was 10 years older.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So that separates
Well,
that.
yeah.
Well, there you go there.
And now, what about Jake Doe?
Jake Doe, I'm not too familiar with his crime, but it was consensual sex.
He was an adult and she was a minor, or he was a minor.
Yes. She was a minor, 17 years old, and he was an adult.
And how old was he at the time?
I believe he was 22.
Okay. Okay. All right. So at least now our listeners understand.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So on behalf of those three individuals, okay, who now have been required by ordinance, and just tell me if I'm right or wrong, in the city of Lancaster, that they have to stay away from schools, parks, theaters, and so on and so forth, right?
Museums and recreational facilities. And
Okay.
Yes.
Arcades.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And what they did was they adopted, actually, our mayor went and asked the Criminal Justice Commission to go out and seek an ordinance that they could adopt. And they did that with the city of Ontario. However, what they did was they went further, okay, and they adopted the movie theaters with arcades and the county libraries.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now let me ask you a question. If you take out the movie theaters and the county libraries, so then you don't have any problem with the ordinance, right?
I do, because of the 300 feet of a school, park, museum, and other public sites. That is not under the jurisdiction of the city. It's the county.
Okay. See, I, if personally, let me tell you my thought. If there's an adult, let's say 28 years old, that is having sex with an underage minor, and they are found guilty of a felony, and they have to register as a sex offender for life, my personal thought is, you know what, they shouldn't have done what they did, and so be it.
Yeah, I have to say, I did a Megan's Law search last night.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah,
good.
And thankfully, none in the immediate vicinity of my home. But I zoomed back out a little bit, and I counted like 15, the 15 that showed up in the square there, and there were several lewd and lascivious acts with a minor under 14. There were several rape by force or fear, and there was one that was caught with kiddie porn that he had made and intended to distribute, and I mean, he had a rap sheet a mile long, and one that raped somebody with an inanimate object. And as a parent and a human being, I can't find a problem. some of their civil rights being poo-pooed. I tried in my heart to feel empathy, and I can't, because I feel empathy for the people that were on the receiving end of all that.
Right, and we do have to talk about the victims, okay?
Right.
But those victims knew their assailants. 67% know.
Which makes it all the worse.
Yeah,
it does.
But it's very, you know what? Let's say a 28-year-old, as an example, okay, which might have been the case here. A 28-year-old taking advantage of somebody that is under the age of 18. That's clearly in the wrong.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to be able to get my head around someone not saying to him early in, you shouldn't be doing this. And even if someone's never said it, he knew. So, when you describe the three cases...
Angelina,
yeah.
how many girls, want to be older than what they are? I mean, come on.
They do.
Let's be real. I was a teenager once.
Yeah.
I was a college-age girl.
Yeah.
And actually, I am a victim of rape. Yeah. Recently.
I'm sorry.
And here I am, sticking up for basically defending sex offenders.
But Michelle, with that comment, you're actually putting more responsibility on the victim than you are the perpetrator. And that's
exactly. But the victim knows their perpetrator.
But it doesn't matter simply because if they're underage, they're walking around just a teenager with hormones on their back, and it doesn't. Yeah. But hold on, it doesn't matter what they knew or what they didn't know. He's a grown man, and he knows better.
Yeah.
And wait a second.
It's not incumbent on her. It's incumbent on him to know better.
How, Angelina?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You and I have been teenagers, okay?
Right. Yeah.
And we went out there and had fun, playing our sports and everything. We want to be older than what we are. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
How many of the females out there want to be older and say, we're 18?
Yes, a lot of them do. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that they don't. Not at all. However, it's still not my job as a 17-year-old to convince you not to commit a crime.
Yeah, you're 17-years are not right in the head.
They're not.
They're developing still.
No, they're not.
It's up to the adult
to be. They're still under the jurisdiction of their parents.
Right.
And it's up to the adult not to do the act.
The parents' control. It's parental control. And that's what we have to make the parents aware of. We have to educate the parents to know where the perpetrators are.
Yeah, they're everywhere. For instance, let me just tell you, there's a associate of mine that I work with that has a 16-year-old daughter that met someone online that he says that he's a college student. This father got on the phone with him and said, do not communicate with my daughter. And how often do you hear the beginnings of that? Someone's telling someone else, don't communicate with my daughter, and they still do it. And I told him that he should call the cops, he should get him evaluated, all of that, because I don't think that this guy's a college student. And who cares? She's 16. And who cares if she said that she was 18? Someone's telling you to get back. You should respect that. And that's it. And you know what? I have no sympathy for the guy that is stupid enough to not ask me for my ID.
Exactly.
So if I say to you, I'm 18, and you're 28, at that age, I remember when my son was 21, I was like, this is the age. You got to be careful now. You have to be careful. So he would ask for ID. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to just go around thinking everyone's going to tell you the truth. Girls are just as hot as guys are, but who cares? You have a responsibility.
Exactly. And
the only issue that I have with the three that you talked about, I'm sorry, I get to talking.
That's okay. That's okay. That's what this is all about.
Steve's going to grab me in a minute. Is the two 17-year-olds. The two 17-year-olds that had sex, I'm saddened that it got to the point where they ended up with felonies because they were kids. But the rest of them, I have no sympathy. Keep them away from the everything. Because they don't know how to make right decisions. So I'm not putting a chance.
Exactly, but they made wrong decisions. Okay, That's the bottom line. However, California is only one of 4 states that has the lifetime registry.
Okay.
I understand that.
Jeff, we made mistakes. Not me personally. Okay, we made mistakes. All right.
Oh, none of us are clear.
We paid our debt to society.
Yes.
Okay. So therefore, should we be on lifetime registry?
Yes.
Well, I know
because
a
there's
particular
certain
mistake
mistakes
that I never
that
made.
you don't get to ever live through.
Okay, let's think about that for just a second. Michelle, hang on just a second. I have to take a break for just a second, but we'll be right back to you in about 1 minute, okay?
Okay, no problem.
I got to just take a break for a commercial. You're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk 1380, the Antelope Valley's #1 news talk radio program. It's a great show today, so stand by.
Hello again. This is Bob Alvis of AV Veterans Talk here on News Talk 1380. When you hear this,
Mustang 6 Golf Foxtrot cleared for takeoff.
that means you're getting ready to fly. And that's just what we do every Friday from 11 a.m. till noon, right between Dennis Miller and Sean Hannity. Each week, we fly right into the subjects that are important to our Valley's veterans and pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed on behalf of our country. So tune in and join our formation. Check us out on Facebook at AV Veterans or call us at 266-4420. So for now, it's wheels up and blue skies. Bob out.
On Tuesday, Becky was sick. On Wednesday, she was gone.
I was there for my son's first breath and his last.
The infection spread so fast.
David got it when he was 13.
Terry was only 5.
Parents need to know.
There is something they can do.
Preteens and teens
are at greater risk.
School nurses nationwide urge you to listen to the voices of meningitis. Get preteens and teens vaccinated against this rare but serious disease. To learn more, go to voicesofmeningitis.org.
Hi, Michelle. We're back. Thanks for holding on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
You know, this is Steve. I'm the father of 3 kids. Okay, one is a girl, my daughter.
And I'm a mother of 2 girls.
Okay, I did, and I'm very proud to say I did a great job raising my kids. Now, my daughter never, ever, ever would have done anything at 17 with a 28-year-old. Okay, in fact, even at 17 with another 17-year-old, I raised my kids a certain way, and I'm very, very lucky about that.
But and let me ask you a question: How do you know?
My daughter and I have a very, very great relationship. I'm a single parent, and there is nothing we didn't discuss.
Good.
Okay? Absolutely nothing. All right? Now, you know, the state of California, and I'm not just going to talk about the city of Lancaster, but the state of California is one of only 4 states. And there's, you know, they do a very good job. They try to do a very good job of backstopping the parents. All right? Parents, in some cases, can only do so much. The state of California tries to backstop them. It is a real issue. It's being a sex offender and preying on a minor is an issue, is a problem. And the state of California looks to punish them, if necessary, for life.
They are 1 in 4 states with the lifetime registry, including Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida.
I don't know that pedophilia is really like an offense sort of thing. It's an orientation. It's just like being heterosexual or homosexual. It's an orientation, and you don't cure that. I don't care what these, you know, these fundamentalist brainwashing groups say they can do. You don't cure that.
Okay,
and that person needs to be observed and watched.
Okay, but
forever, because that's always going to be there. That's in their wiring.
Okay, but wait a second. Wait a second. The registered sex offenders has the least recidivism rate at 1.9% of committing another sexual crime.
I read several on on the Megan's Law list that had long rap sheets and weren't just one-offers.
They may have long rap sheets,
but they were in that general vein. It wasn't just I stole a man and I diddled a little girl. It was all
pornography.
Boom, boom, boom.
Pornography will put you on the sex offender registry.
As well it should.
Okay.
That type of pornography.
Right. Right, and you hear these extreme cases of high school coaches that are caught with 1,000 photos of 6-year-olds. Okay, and I understand that. Okay, and there's extremes on both sides.
Right, there is.
Okay, but not getting into debating the whole thing about sex offenders. Let's try to boil it down into.
Let's talk about our home territory.
Okay, let's talk about Jane Doe, John Doe.
Let's talk about our home territory.
Okay.
Okay. How many of the recent crimes, the sex offense crimes, the rapes, the kidnappings, happened by a registered sex offender? Absolutely zero.
Okay.
The recent crimes, absolutely zero.
Okay.
Those are new sex offenders. Okay, and there's things I don't condone. Okay, there's things I don't condone. However, what I was representing, Steve, is the 99,000 sex offenders throughout the state of California, and what we have here at home. The home sex offenders that we have here, the over, I think it's 964 that we have
86
throughout the valley.
in West Lancaster, according to Megan's Law site.
Right. How many of them have committed new sex crimes? How many of them have been recently arrested? None.
Okay.
Absolutely none.
Could that be because of a lot of observation and restriction?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
I understand
absolutely
what you're
not.
saying. Let's look at it a different way. Let's say you are convicted of felony drunk driving. Okay. Let's just say. All right.
Okay.
You are
which I personally can relate to.
Okay. You are. I'm sorry, but you are. Okay. You are now a convicted felon. Okay.
Yes.
You have lost your right to the Second Amendment, and you can no longer purchase a firearm. Okay? Because you are a convicted felon. All right?
Well, okay.
I'm just saying. Okay.
He's building up to it.
All right. Now, if you are a convicted sex offender, let's just say it was 2 consensual 17-year-olds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you are convicted of a felony, all right? Your lawsuit, basically, what you're claiming is that because they have to register as a sex offender, they have to give up, and they lose their First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and you went on and on and on, right?
True.
Okay. That's what happens.
That's true.
That's what happens.
However, Steve, they still, even though they're a convicted felon, they still have civil rights.
Well, but they do have civil rights, but they gave up some of their future rights because they knowingly did something that they shouldn't have done.
It took away the rights of somebody else. I think that supersedes.
And that's true, okay. But I mean, you're going to get into another realm of plea bargaining and everything. Going to a lesser charge.
Right, and see that in and of itself is very interesting because in some cases, and perhaps with John Doe, Jane Doe, and Jake Doe in your situation, they may have been more serious crimes, but they were plea bargained down to something even lower. Okay,
could have been.
Okay, let's just say, is that a possibility?
That is true.
Okay, all right. And so
I told you on the
now,
phone last night, Steve loves this legal
So right
stuff.
now, we're really only talking about the lesser crime. I don't, because John Doe and Jane Doe and Jake Doe, they're not, the Doe family's not on the show right now, and you're doing the best you can to explain their circumstances. But I don't know what their more serious crimes were, and that is what, in and of itself, that really concerns me.
What concerns me, Steve, is the sexual violent predators out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, and I don't want them in a park.
There's a difference between SVPs and sex offenders.
So what if he reworded the ordinance and just specifically put in SVPs? Would you feel differently about the ordinance?
Excuse me?
What if Rex reworded the ordinance and said specifically SVPs? Would you feel differently about the ordinance?
He didn't.
Well, I know, but just hypothetically.
What if he did? Would you feel differently?
Actually, no. Actually, no. And because SVPs are totally different than sexual offenders, because they're civilly committed after their incarceration, okay, into a hospital. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're additionally punished beyond their incarceration.
But eventually they're released, are they not?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Yes,
they are.
But then you would still want to afford the same rights and everything to them.
They still have civil rights. That's what I'm trying to say, Steve. They still have civil rights.
Yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yes, but they violated somebody else's rights, and in doing that, they gave up their future civil rights to certain things. Period. End of story.
Yeah, and to mirror what he's saying, I would love to see a campaign saying, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will give up your rights to X, Y, and Z for the rest of your life. I would say sorry for the people that are already in that situation, but I'm not sorry. So let's make sure everybody knows if you do these things, you're giving up the rest of your life. There is no more movie theater with an arcade. There's no more parks. There's no more living by schools, because I just don't care. I don't care because it was wrong. Somebody in your life told you at some point that was a wrong choice. And you decided to do it.
And Angelina, that goes back to the parents.
No, it does not go back to the parents.
Yes,
it goes.
It does.
The parents can lay a foundation, but you ultimately make your choices.
Wait.
No,
Angelina,
Michelle.
Angelina, wait.
I'm listening.
Angelina, we can go back to the parents. It's the parents' duty to explain to their kids right from wrong, good touch and bad touch.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It all goes back to the parents and how we educate our kids.
I'm not going to take away anything from the importance of what the parents do in growing these kids up. But you can have, and you frequently have, kids with a head full of bad wires. And it falls upon them. Ultimately, they make the act, they make the decision to do what they're going to do. And the responsibility is on them. You can give them the best foundation possible, and then it's up to them, up to the individual that commits this act, to do it or not do it, and to make that decision. There's a lot of parents out there that don't spend enough time with their children and don't work through the tough issues. I know that.
Steve, let's talk about parents. How many parental households have split parents?
A lot.
A lot. Very good, Angelina. A lot. And we do not spend the quality time with our kids. We don't.
Not enough.
Let's talk about this little girl that walked, to school recently at 6:15 in the morning.
Right.
All right?
And she was pulled in the bushes.
We have choices. All right? As parents, we have choices. Are we going to match our child with another child to have them escorted to school?
Wow.
Right?
Michelle, something's wrong with you.
Hang on.
Oh, no, nothing's wrong with me.
I have to say it because you're putting all the responsibility on the victim. You're saying be careful because there's other people out there.
No, absolutely not. I'm not. I'm putting the responsibility on the parent.
No. No,
I
hold
understand.
on a second, Steve. Just a second. Michelle, can I just say something? Michelle, just give me 2 seconds.
We got a break, too.
And then let me just say it. Because when you're 26 and you're looking at a little girl and you're like, oh, I want to touch her, I don't care what your parent might have told you and what your parent might not have told you. You know, because you're 26 years old, that you're not supposed to touch a little kid.
With a head full of snakes.
And how close is that child to that man?
Oh my God!
And how does that parent relate to that person that he or she entrusted to their child.
I understand, but you know what? And in 1 second, I have to take a break for 1 minute. But you know what? To me, okay, the city of Lancaster, and let's just put, there. The city of Lancaster basically is saying, well, Michelle, let me ask you a question. In our last election, were you for or against the continuing the death penalty in California?
I was actually against it.
Okay, because sometimes maybe an innocent person may go to the death chamber and may be killed?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And you did admit, earlier, that there is a small percentage,
1.9%
of sexual offenders that do recommit, right?
Yes, 1.9. That is.
And the city of Lancaster is going to take that out of the equation and make certain that now it's a 0% in the city of Lancaster. That's why this ordinance is there. On that note, we need to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the #1 News Talk radio program in the Antelope Valley, AV Newscast, and we'll be right back.
AVNewsCast.com comes to News Talk 1380. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning from 8 to 9, discover what's news in the Antelope Valley.
This isn't your grandpa's talk radio.
It sure isn't. We're going to be live, edgy, and we're not going to pull any punches. Hi, this is Steve Benson from AVNewsCast.com. Join me and my co-host Jeff Sheldon live on News Talk 1380 every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning from 8 to 9. We're taking all the technology from AVNewsCast.com and bringing it to News Talk Radio 1380. You can catch us on the radio, and you can watch our live video stream on your computer or smartphone. So call in and let's talk about what's affecting you in the Antelope Valley.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, wherever the mission takes us, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Close your eyes in Chicago, and you can hear the sound of zebra braying in Africa. Look hard out your window in D.C., and you can see the snow-covered peaks of the Andes. Stand on a corner in L.A. and feel the hot wind of the Sahara brush across your face. The world is that small. We are that connected. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together, making it so simple for you to make a difference. Because we are many, and we are one. Please visit us at earthshare.org to learn more. Earthshare. One environment. One simple way to care for it all. A public service message from Earthshare and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Okay, you know what I want to do? Let's bring... Hey, Michelle?
Yes.
I'm really glad that you're here on the show. You know, our phones, but both personally my cell phone, but our phones at the studio have been blowing up since the minute you came on the show. Okay?
I bet they have.
The vibration is rattling the console off the table.
I'll tell you what. I'm just going to... I want to take a call, so I'm just going to put you on hold for a second.
You should be able to hear.
Let me just take another caller real quick, and then I'm going to come right back to you, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Just a second. Okay? Hi, you're live on AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380. Who's this?
Frank Lindsay.
Hi, Frank. Thanks for calling in.
What do you want to talk about, Frank? For so long.
I'm sorry?
You wanted to address the show that we're talking about right now?
I believe so.
Okay. Talk to me.
Well, I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm calling from Central California.
Okay.
And I can't hear the program.
Ah.
But I had been informed by Janice Bellucci that the program of discussion was going on, and so I thought I might join.
Okay. Now, Janice, so our listeners can get up to speed, Janet is the attorney that brought this action against the city of Lancaster on behalf of John Doe, Jane Doe, and Jake Doe. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, did you want to comment on the lawsuit?
I'll comment on the lawsuit, sure.
Okay.
It's just a matter of justice and upholding our Constitution.
Well, okay, let me ask you a question, okay? If you are convicted of a felony, you lose your right to purchase a firearm, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, if you are convicted...
A concealable firearm.
No. In California, if you're convicted of a felony, you cannot go in and buy a rifle.
That's new law that I was not aware of.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question, okay? Let's just assume that. If you are convicted of a felony sexual offense... Okay? You now lose some of your future rights.
Okay.
Okay? So...
For lifetime?
Well, if you're convicted of a felony and you lose your right to have a firearm, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you are convicted of a felony sexual offense, you lose your right to do certain things. And one of those certain things is stay away from schools, let's say, for example. Okay? If you preyed on...
Have children who attend that school?
Pardon me?
What if you have children that attend that school?
Well, you know what?
Work on getting a bus.
Okay? That is an issue, and I understand what you're saying. Okay? However, okay, if you're an adult convicted... well, Frank, let me ask you a personal question. Because you've got an interest in this lawsuit. Are you a sexual offender?
I am.
Okay.
In the past, 34 years ago.
34, that's a long time. And you've never committed another sexual offense?
No, I have not.
Okay. How old were you when you were convicted?
26.
And how old was the victim?
I'm not going to talk about the victim.
Okay. Can you just give me an age?
I'm not going to talk about the victim. She's not here to verify anything.
Okay. All right. I can appreciate that. It just makes it a little hard for me to wrap my head around it, but I appreciate your candor. And so whatever it was that you were convicted of, that's now been following you for 34 years.
Correct.
Right? And that makes things very difficult, right?
Correct.
I understand. And basically what you're saying is, I did something wrong. I've paid my price, but I haven't done anything in the future. Let me be a regular citizen like everybody else, right?
Correct.
Didn't you tell me in the right set of circumstances that nothing would ever happen again?
Anything is possible.
Right.
So then that's why.
And I appreciate that very much.
I'm going to live from integrity, though.
Mm-hmm.
We all can if we make that decision to do that.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
So
did you
I'm
go?
just looking for a justice system that embraces what justice to me is all about, which is simply justice is a method of defining, maintaining, and restoring peace. What we all want.
But can I ask you a question? No, I'm sorry, Steve. Can I ask you a question? Sure. I understand that you committed this offense 34 years ago, but I don't know you from Adam. Why would I trust that you would make the right decision and you could be in the park next to my child? Why would I trust that? And why should I trust that?
Based on the studies that have been done, shows that, according to CDC, their current report, that only 1.9% recommit a sexual offense.
But what if you're one of those 1.9%? What if
how do we know?
In the future,
how do we know who the 1.9% is?
Right.
That's a big 1.9%
when it comes to gun ownership and what that person may do with that gun.
That's true.
That's true, and that's a big.
We don't know.
And I have no problem.
Guarantee.
I have no problem.
Absolute integrity.
Okay.
From
I have no problem if somebody
have crossed the line in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
If somebody shoots somebody, I have no problem taking that gun away from them forever and ever. They go to prison, they do their time, they get out, they don't get a gun again. I have no problem with that.
Same principle.
No problem.
Right. Frank, let me ask you a question. Did you go to prison?
I did not.
Okay. Hang on. Do you know Michelle, who is on our show?
I do know Michelle.
Okay, great. I'm just going to put you on hold for 1 second. Let me bring her on the line.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Michelle.
Yes.
Hi. Okay. The call, were you able to hear that call?
No, I wasn't.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, it's apparently it's somebody that resides in Northern California. His name is Frank. He was convicted of a sexual offense about 34 years ago.
He says he knows you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, he knows me. He knows me.
Okay, so you know who we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I'm not going to pry or anything. I did ask him, and he was very candid that he was convicted of a sexual offense 34 years ago, and he's had to live with that. I did ask him information on the victim, and he didn't want to offer that because she's not available to comment on this. So, I'm just going to leave it at that. But
I don't appreciate it. More rights.
No,
to
Angela, bring it on. Bring it on.
Well, what I'm saying is,
well,
my voice is I don't appreciate it because it's more rights that he gets to pull and the victim gets to live with this for the rest of their life. And like I asked him, I said, if I'm in the park with him, I'm supposed to trust what? That he's not going to ever touch my little granddaughter. And he's like, studies. And then he mentioned the 1.9%. Which he can't tell me that he's not part of the 1.9. Neither can any other sex offender. So what level-headed parent is going to take a chance of 1.9 ever? Not one.
Angelina?
Yes?
I'm a mom.
Okay.
And I have sex offenders with our organization. And you know what? I trust them with my kids.
Hey. Okay. And that's your choice.
Prerogative.
And you know what? Any conscious adult that wants to make that choice, that's clearly up to them. And I can't comment on that. But
we have the choice. We
right.
have that choice.
Correct. But but here's the thing. But little kids, little children, aren't able to make very qualified choices. And in this case, the city of Lancaster is doing the very best they can to make the city of Lancaster the safest city around.
Right.
No, they're not. They're not. They're putting the city at risk.
Why? Because you
by
think that
what?
by pedophiles being in the park, it's going to watch other pedophiles?
Wait, Angelina. They're putting the city at risk, not knowing where the restrictions are going to put the city at risk.
Because?
Not knowing where the sex offenders are.
What do you mean?
I don't follow.
If they're homeless, okay, these restrictions would do just that. We would not know where they're at.
Well, the homeless are supposed to report every 30 days where they're at.
Hello, Jeff.
Yeah.
What Megan's law says. How can a homeless sex offender? I mean, you have 29 days in between.
Flag a cop car.
Okay. Right. I care about where they're at.
Well, I care about where they're at too, and that's why. In fact, I know that my kids can go to a park because they're not going to be there.
Exactly.
Right.
If you don't know where they're at, okay.
Right.
How can we supervise our kids?
Well, I know they're not going to be within 1,000 yards of a school, or they're not going to be at a park, and they're not going to be.
How do you know that, Jeff?
We know the ones that we know.
How do you know that?
And what do you propose?
Okay.
What do you propose?
What's the solution?
How do we fix the ones that are homeless?
For example, okay, I know that on Halloween, okay, any house that's decorated is fair game because they're not supposed to be decorating their house.
Jeez, well, I don't decorate either.
Okay. And I don't go to your house, Angelina.
But I'm just saying, don't be putting no mark on my door.
Angelina's going to start decorating.
Yeah, I'm going to put something.
Okay. A jack-o'-lantern out there next year.
God.
But no, they don't pray. I mean, it goes back to the 1.9%. They don't reoffend.
But you know what? But you voted against the death penalty because there is a chance that some innocent person could be sent to death.
Right.
Okay?
No,
for a crime they didn't commit, right?
Wait. I mean, if you want to get into that's another topic.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me just say, okay, but I don't want my child exposed to that potential 1.9%.
That's the bottom line, really.
Okay.
Okay. The bottom line is, how well do you know your neighbor?
Well,
in my case, very well. But
how do the other neighbors in the city of Lancaster? How well do they know their neighbor?
I don't know them very well, but my kids are out front. I'm out with them.
I understand the point you're trying to make. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I need to take another quick break for 60 seconds, and I'll be right back, Michelle. You're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380, the Antelope Valley's #1 News Talk radio program, and we'll be right back.
News Talk 1380.
Do you think of golf all the time? Do you imagine you're playing golf all the time? Do you take practice swings in the hallway or in your cubicle? Do you know a golfer? Is he or she as addicted as you are? Then you need to get a grip.
Hi, this is Paul from the Get a Grip Golf Talk Show, and we can help get your fix. Swing fix, that is. We'll be going on the air January 5th and can be heard on Saturdays from 9 to 10 in the morning on 1380 AM. We'll be talking PGA, LPGA, Champions Tour, from tee to green and everything in between. Giving you product reviews, what's in the bag, golf tips, lots of call-ins, giveaways, and more. So listen in and get a grip.
Ew, get the stinky dog away from me. Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out. Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs. Bad breath and bad gas.
Chew himself raw, sticky, gooey, smelly. She scratched incessantly.
At least $5,000 in vet bills.
I heard about Dynavite on this radio station.
I just called my wife. I said, dear, you got to check out Dynavite.
I logged on to DINOVITE.com. The omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, probiotics.
There's flaxseed oil, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
6 days later, my dog's ear problems were cured. The shedding has stopped and the itching has stopped.
His breath was better. His gas was better. Tons of energy. No more bad smell. She has gotten this puppy look. Her coat has sheen. Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
My vet was completely blown away.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hi, Michelle. You're back on. You're live. I want to give you a chance. You wanted to make a point, so I don't want to talk over you, and I apologize if I was doing that earlier.
That's okay.
You wanted to make a... Was there a point that you wanted to make, or can I keep going?
Steve is crazy.
Oh no, Angelina, I feel for the city of Lancaster. I really, really do.
Because?
Okay. And I did not interject my personal experience. Okay.
Okay.
But Angelina?
Yes.
I was assaulted by a police officer.
Oh my God.
Okay, now you know what though?
Yes.
Earlier, that's a
separate. If we want to go to that, we can.
No, I don't want to go to that because I don't have enough knowledge about that, and that's really not a public issue that we're talking about right now.
Right.
Okay?
That's true. That's true. But I mean, if you want to talk about the trust issues, who do we trust the most, Jeff?
Well, what do you
family.
mean? Your family, your parents?
Yeah.
Is that where you're headed?
The family, the parents, those that we trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the case, and that's why my kids didn't
Mm-hmm.
spend the night out much.
And you know what?
Yep.
And Michelle,
if I was to interject personal issues in this, believe me, Jeff, it would be an exposure. Okay.
Okay, I understand.
That's not where we're going with it.
Yeah, we can avoid the exposure.
Michelle, it is the parents' responsibility. Now, I'm a single dad. My youngest is 13. All right, he's a straight A student. He plays football, baseball. He's a Boy Scout.
Sure.
Okay, and I've been very, very lucky to have just a wonderful kid.
Props.
Okay,
I give your child props.
But here's the thing: the point that I'm making is.
What, Jeff?
No, I'm Steve.
Steve.
Oh, Steve.
That's okay.
He has hormones hormones.
I understand, and he's beating them down with a whip. But here's the thing.
I bet he is. I bet he is.
but here's and the point I'm making is, all right, that's one circumstance. A lot of parents, okay, in today's economy, it's two parents that are both working, or it's a split up household and dad's not there or mom's not there, or what have you. Okay, but it is a city. It is the government's, it is the state, the city's responsibility to do the best job they can in keeping that city as safe as possible for everybody, right? Regardless of what crime it is.
And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's why I stepped up.
Because you want the sexual convicted sexual predators to be able to get closer to my child. That's making it safer.
No. Oh no.
What is it that you? What is it that you're hoping for, Michelle?
I'm hoping that the city of Lancaster will recognize the recidivism rate.
Okay, and then
that's 1.9%.
Okay.
And then do what to protect against the ones then that haven't been caught?
You should be afraid of them.
No, but what do you hope to change? What is it that you think should change in order to?
I hope the city repeals that ordinance.
And they should because they should. Why? Because they want to forget about the 1.9%. It's not that great of a number to them.
Yeah, that's right.
But
you should actually be afraid of the ones that haven't been caught.
We are afraid of them,
too. And
I have plenty of fear to go around.
Okay. Really. That in and of itself, we can't.
This ordinance is not. I mean, it's grandstanding. It's fear mongering. Let's be real. Okay.
So you think that there's a time limit that these perpetrators should be punished for, and then after that they should be able to live their life. They paid their debt, and that's it. That's basically what it is, right?
Say that one more time.
You think that there's a time limit that they should be punished for. So, if they go to jail, if they don't go to jail, whatever the time limit that the government has set upon them by means of their punishment, they should live that out. And then after that time is done, they should be able to live a nice, enjoyable life for the rest of their life, right?
They fear more coming out than they do going back.
From prison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's the thing. So the city of Lancaster. So you think that they should repeal this ordinance, and at the same time, let them go ahead and maybe they could pass a new ordinance that will allow felons that were convicted of felony domestic battery to purchase handguns. Should they do that too?
That's another topic.
No, because the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is.
You're going into personal issues there.
Well, this is personal too.
That one too.
Access, and if you want to get to guns, access and proximity is another issue.
Have you got an issue with that one too?
I think it was with my case. Yeah.
Okay, let's forget that one then. Okay.
Come on.
Here's. You know what? Okay.
Wow.
You know what?
Access and proximity is a different issue with guns.
Okay.
So that's a total.
And so, how does access
topic?
and proximity apply then to the sex offenders?
You don't have to worry about sex offenders on the registry. You don't.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I completely disagree. And you know what?
And that's okay. That's okay. We can disagree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. They did something to end up on that registry, right?
They sure did.
They did something to end up on that registry.
And guess what?
What?
I can go out there and play golf and take pictures of all of our upstanding, law-abiding pillars of society sitting next to their golf cart.
All right, Michelle, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Our show's going to end. You can come on tomorrow if you want to finish this up. You're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380, and thank you for listening today.